Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. So let us begin. Thanks for tuning in, my friends. Early Wednesday morning. We're nice and quiet in my camper, chilling. And just made some laughs, heard some pretty cool wild stories, and just checking the neighborhood around the Himmershey district. It's all well and good. So when you have a chance, always take care of your bartenders and waitresses when you're in those areas, in that particular area, okay? Well, had a good chuckle today, and I'm going to narrate this. One of two articles here. And this one came from consortiumnews.com. It's entitled, Mainstream Media is Literally Making People Sick. It came out yesterday. And as it says here, the most obvious and significant culprit in Trump anxiety disorder is the mass media, which has been fanning the flames of panic, writes Catalin Johnstone. As it reads here, a new updated data set is now available on a psychological phenomenon that has been labeled Trump anxiety disorder or Trump hypersensitive unexplained disorder. And it says that the phenomenon only got worse in 2018. This order is described as a specific type of anxiety in which symptoms were specified to the election of Trump and his resultant unpredictable socio-political climate. According to the 2018 surveys, Americans are feeling significantly more stressed by the future of their country and the current political environment than they were last year. I'm sorry. I have to start laughing. This is like totally hilarious right now. Very, I could say unmeritable, if you understand what I'm saying. But it really gets my goat. It doesn't get my goat, but it is entertainment as finest. This is what it has to say here. Pacific Standard reports as follows: as the possibility of a Hillary Clinton victory began to slip away and the possibility of a Donald Trump presidency became more and more certain, the contours of the new age of American anxiety began to take shape. In a 2017 column, Washington Post columnist Dana Milbank described this phenomenon as Trump hypertensive unexplained disorder, overrating, headaches, fading, irregular heartbeat, chronic neck pain, depression, irritable bowel syndrome, tightness in the chest, shortness of breath, teeth grinding, stomach ulcer, indigestion, shingles, eye twitching, nausea, irritability, high blood sugar, tinnitus, reduced immunity, racing pulse, shaky limbs, hair loss, acid reflux, deteriorating vision, stroke, heart attack. It was a veritable organ recital, excuse me. 2 years later, the psychological effects of the Trump administration aren't going away. A growing body of research has track the detrimental impacts of the Trump-related stress on broad segments of the American population, from young adults to women to racial and LGBT communities. The results aren't good. This is so amazing, okay? One man and everyone's all wigging out and complaining and going on his high horse and listen to all of the garbage media has to say about this man. All right? Good grief. It's like cult of personality, pro and against. Pro or anti. This is how ludicrous this really is. And I always say this in good faith, my friends. Now we'll continue on here. As she says here, I do not for 1 second doubt that Americans are feeling more stress and suffering, more health degrading symptoms as a result than they were prior to Trump's election. But Pacific Standard and its growing body of research ignore the most obvious and significant culprit behind this phenomenon, which is tearing people's health to shreds. The mass media, which has been deliberately fanning the flames of the Trump panic. The always excellent Moon of Alabama blog has just published a sarcasm-laden piece documenting the many aggressive maneuvers that the administration has made against the interests of Russia, from pushing for more NATO, fundraising to undermining Russia's natural gas interests, to bombing Syria, to sanctioning Russia's oligarchs, to dangerous military posturing. And it's funny because there's a lot of links on here as well pertaining to this matter from the Moon of Alabama. And this is a good site. You should check it out. I did some shows on it, narrate some articles from that site as well. And it's so funny. Like talking about here, Trump attacked on Syria with 9 Tomahawk missiles. Okay. Trump signs bill approving new sanctions against Russia. So all these folks are wigging out and all the Iran deal. Yeah, I'll definitely gonna put this on my footnotes. Yeah, when that, so you folks can read it yourself. This is like totally hilarious. Of course, Trump agrees to boost Pentagon's budget to $750 billion in 2019. Reports Sputnik. Trump says U.S. will withdraw from nuclear arms treaty with Russia. That was on Guardian, October 21st, 2018. So like I like how Moon of Alabama. New on Moon of Alabama, Putin asks, Trump delivers. A list of all good things that Trump did for Russia. And yet, the trendy, most high-profile stories about Trump today all involve painting him as a Putin puppet who is working to destroy America by taking a weak stance against an alarming geopolitical threat that has had the effect of manufacturing demand for even more dangerous escalations against a nuclear superpower that just so happened to be a longtime target of U.S. intelligence agencies. If the mass media were in the business of reporting facts, there would be a lot less Putin's puppet talk and a lot more, hey, maybe we should avoid senseless escalations which could end all life on Earth. Talk among news media consumers, but there isn't, because the mass media is not in the business of reporting facts. It's in the business of selling narratives. Even those narratives are so shrill and stress-inducing that they imperil the health of their audience. It's total mind control at its finest, folks. That's what you got to look at. You have to always, good thing to read, too, is Aaron Benaze's book, Propaganda. You know, like I've been talking about this in the past, but it is the truth. That's one thing you have to always, I tell everyone, observe responsibly. And it says here, like his predecessors, Trump is clearly not a Russian asset. He is a facilitator of America's permanent unelected government, just like his predecessors. And indeed, as far as actual policies and administration behavior goes, he is not much different from Barack Obama and George W. Bush. Hell for all, his demagogic anti-immigrant speech, Trump hasn't even caught up to Obama's peak ICE deportation years. If the mass media were in the business of reporting facts, people would be more worried about this administration than they were about the previous ones. Because when it comes to his administration's actual behavior, he's just as reliable an upholder of the establishment-friendly status quo as his predecessors. Remember, the more things change, the more it stays the same. But, you know, like all these Trump peers don't see that. Oh, Barack Obama's such a great president. We all should all hold hands and kumbaya and say, God bless the Patriot Act. And what he did with scum queen, war criminal Hillary Clinton on taking out Muammar Gaddafi is justifiable. I'll continue on here. Used to be that the U.S. mass media only killed people indirectly by facilitating establishments, war agendas, and repeating government agency propaganda as an objective fact, and promulgating narratives that manufacture support for a status quo which won't even give Americans health insurance or safe drinking water. Now they're skipping the middleman and killing them directly by psychologically brutalizing them so aggressively that it ruins their health, all to ensure that Democrats support war and adore the U.S. intelligence community. They do this for a reason, of course. The Yellow Vest protests in France have continued unabated for their 9th consecutive week, a decentralized populist uprising resulting from ordinary French citizens losing trust in their institutions and official narratives which uphold them. The social engineers are responsible for controlling the populace of the greatest military power on the planet, are watching France closely and understand deeply what is at stake should they fall to control the narrative and herd ordinary Americans into supporting U.S. government institutions. Right now, they got Republicans cheering on the White House and Democrats cheering on the U.S. Intelligence Committee, but that could all change should something happen which causes them to lose control over the thoughts that Americans think about their rulers. I call them servants. Propaganda is the single most overlooked and unappreciated aspect of human society. The ability of those in power to manipulate the ways ordinary people think, act, and vote has allowed for an inverted totalitarianism which turns the citizenry into their own prison wardens, allowing those with real power to continue doing as they please, unhindered by the interest of the common man. The only thing that will lead to real change is the people losing trust in corrupt institutions and rise like lions against them. Gets increasingly likely as those institutions lose control of the narrative, and with trust in the mass media at an all-time low. Populist uprisings restoring part of the people in France, and media corporations acting increasingly weird and insecure. That looks more and more likely by the day. Can you blame these people? I don't. I think it's fantastic. The whole thing is, my friends, you never trust the government. That one thing that's what they say in our Declaration of Independence when Jefferson wrote it in the very almost last paragraph. All right? That is the truth. You never trust these clowns. And I don't really find them as a complete turnoff as well. But I just gotta laugh at all this and everyone with Trump's-iety and anything Trump does, he farts, people gonna have a cow. When he talks, steam comes out of their ears. When he walks, someone's bowels are gonna move, get ulcers, diarrhea, and all that good stuff. But you know what? There's the cult of personality, whether you're pro or against, is all the same. Think for yourselves, folks. If you're going to be critical towards somebody, have merit and don't be a parrot. I see this stuff on Facebook about Trump this, Trump that, like he's some Lord and Savior, the King of Kings for the United States. All you got to do is read Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, and it's very self-explanatory. I don't have to say anything anymore, but observe responsibly, stay vigilant, and never trust the government, okay? So please, folks, red wave, blue wave, all crappy waves, okay? I support the Liberty wave, period. All right, I'm going to do one more here. It'll be pretty short and sweet. This one came from the Sun Sentinel. Came out today. This one's here. BSO's first sheriff removed from office nearly 100 years ago offers lessons for Scott Israel. Whoo, man. The Sun Sentinel really like to bash this guy. But you know what? I completely understand. As it says here, by Chris Mancini. I read former Broward Sheriff Scott Israel's comments that politics, pure and simple, is driving his removal from office rather than the technical legal requirements of malfeasance and misfeasance in office. If the past is any predictor for the future, and usually history is about to repeat itself, and Israel is certain to lose his case in the Florida Senate. Sun Sentinel reporter Lisa Haraja chronicled the checkered history of the ghost of Broward Sheriff's past, but she didn't go back far enough to find the parallels to Israel's upcoming fight to regain his job. She needed to look at Broward County's first sheriff, A.W. Turner, who was elected in 1915 with 295 votes. In 1922, Turner said a curse upon the BSO that keeps repeating itself. He was removed from office by then Governor Carey Augustus Hardy. The key to Turner eventually regaining his elective office was the fact that he had great sympathy throughout the county for his claim that the removal office was political and that the county commission had failed to adequately fund the sheriff's office. Most voters who believed that Turner was being made to a scapegoat to honor a promise the governor had made to arrest a class of politically protected criminals called wiretappers 2 years passed before the state Senate, not surprisingly given the political nature of that body, upheld his removal from office. I expect the same in the case of Israel. Turner's only option was to recoup his job by winning the 1924 Democratic Party primary, but he lost to Paul Bryan, who was himself later indicted for conspiring to protect liquor smugglers during Prohibition. Yeah, it was during the Prohibition years. Remember that? Hopefully folks can read about that. Turner believed he had been wrongly ousted from office, and in 1929, Turner won a re-election and stayed in office until 1933. During the height of the Prohibition, partly by turning a blind eye to liquor smuggling. That's a form of nullification. I don't know what's wrong with that. Like Israel, Turner was in constant budget disputes with the county commission to the point in which he threatened to close the jail and set all prisoners free. So, what does history tell us about Israel's fate? He would do well to concentrate on convincing the voters of Broward County that, unlikely many of his predecessors, he was not corrupt. On the issues of inadequate training, lack of adequate personnel and radios, he must prove these were policies, budgetary, and political decisions made by the county commission and the school board and not his agency. Israel's supporters will also have to take on the Parkland parents by convincing the voters that Governor Ron DeSantis has confused their rightful grief with proper judgment. Then there is the question of whether race will play a role in Israel's re-election. While the parents of the victims were mostly white, the news account accompanying Israel's defiant claim to fight to regain his office shows mostly black supporters standing behind him at the Mount Olive Baptist Church in Fort Lauderdale, which I can say I was there, and I know that for a fact. It's no secret that many in the black community and some of the Parkland students believe that the furor over the Parkland massacre would not have been as great if the victims were black. It's the elephant in the room for Broward Sheriff Gregory Toney, whether he likes it or not. I say good luck to them all in meeting their respective burdens, but no matter what happens to Israel, he has gotten one thing at least partially right. It will be all about pure politics, although history teaches us it's never that simple. He is an attorney and owner-operator of South Florida Crime Museum. Good article. Well, you have to say that, my friends. And based on the merits of the executive order, which he actually, what DeSantis decided to do, have his team look at it, then he made his just cause right there. Prima facie just cause, which is on his face in Latin. Prima facie. So that's why he got suspended. However, he is entitled to go for an appeal in this March with the Senate. And I'd say this too, folks. He's a federalized sheriff. I've been saying this for a good period of time, but for the first-time listeners, just look at his bio. Look up Scott Israel, a member of Homeland Security. You'll find stuff. And when you have a person who's a member of a federal governmental organization, and he's a county sheriff, that is a major conflict of interest. And of course, his witch hunting antics did not prevail him for being the sheriff right now. So, like I have to agree, and I'll say this once again, Scott Israel has done this to himself. However, the man has a right to be heard at the Senate. and that is it. But I still call him. He has never been my sheriff. All right, folks. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us with your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you say something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondence with decorum. Plus, I will leave all my contacts, social media site contacts, and email addresses on my Spreaker page. Okay? Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.